From Centennial High School, it's high school boys soccer tonight on North Metro TV as the Blaine Bengals and Centennial Cougars square off in rivalry soccer on North Metro TV. 7-0-2 for the Bengals, a top 10 mark in the state, and the Centennial Cougars coming in at 4-4-1. Good evening, J.W. Cox here alongside John Haddon. It's a doubleheader as per usual, boys and girls soccer here tonight. The gentlemen getting things started in this matchup of rivals. Went to the Bengals last year, 1-0. Far different teams this year, John, with a lot of experience coming back for this Bengals squad, and head coach Barry Aerosmith bringing back, after losing just 6 seniors from last year's team. He's put that to good use, and they've come out to this 7-win, no loss, and 2-tie record so far.
That's been an exciting team to watch in the way that they have a balanced attack. So often at the high school level, you can get one person who really stands out, or maybe two that really contributes all the scoring. But everyone in this lineup, it feels like, has a chance to score. And one of the guys that's gotten on the board just a bit more than some others is Tega Kohegba.
Yeah, 4 goals, 3 assists for Kohegba. 3 of those 4 goals have come in the last 4 games. So you might, at this point in the season, John, look for someone to step up and be the go-to guy to really propel you forward after being a balanced team throughout the year. And so far, Kohegba has done that, leading this team in points.
Which is exciting for him to be turning it on at this time of year during his senior campaign. Outstanding to see him get hot as we get closer to the playoffs, because it is right around the corner now.
This the second to last regular season game for both of these two teams. Head coach Barry Aerosmith has his team scoring at 2 goals per game. That's the clip. And defensively, it is 0.6 goals allowed per game, which is the second best mark in scoring defense to only Champlain Park in the Northwest Suburban Conference. And that's actually the only team they are second to in the conference, is those Champlain Park Rebels. On the other side for the Centennial Cougars, they did lose a lot from last year's back-to-back state tournament team. But a guy that has come back and filled in his senior season is Garrett Mears. He's had the game-winning goal, John, in each of the last 2 wins for Centennial, a senior stepping up in a big way late.
Well, wins haven't been as plentiful as they had been in previous years, but to see a guy be the difference on the scoreboard and getting those game-winning scores, and a team that has won their games when they've won in real close, low-scoring fashion. So every goal matters when you play for Centennial and against Centennial.
7 of the 9 games for head coach Jeff Otteson have been decided by a single goal this season. That's how close they are. And, well, they've split those just like their record is split. They are 3-3-1 in those 7 games decided by the narrowest of margins. This series, well, obviously it goes a long way back between these two teams, and it's been Blaine that has had the upper hand of late over the longer balance of this rivalry, 5-3-1 against Centennial since 2012. Last year, though, it was the Cougars who got a 1-0 victory en route to a section title and a state tournament berth. What will this second-to-last game of the regular season have in store? Find out. It's the rivals, the Bengals and Cougars. Yeah, Coach, bundle up. It's getting crispy out there as we get into the first day of October. And we've got soccer next here on North Metro TV. Back with you on North Metro TV, just shy of the anthem here at Centennial High School on this first day of October. It is crisp. The hair is flowing, and these guys are ready to roll. But we'll pause for the national anthem here. Cougars and Bengals, first of 2 soccer matches on the night. And some blue sky just under the clouds as the sun keeps dotting in and out here at Centennial High School as we're just about ready to get game one of our doubleheader started. Bengals in white, Cougars in red. You look at how these two teams have played and scored as you get the Centennial starters there with their 2 forwards, 2 defensemen, everybody else in the middle with Isaac Verke in net. The Cougars come out averaging just over a goal per game and allowing a goal per game, so pretty even Steven. Speaking to those tight margins that John was talking about, there's the Bengal starters. They'll go 3 defenders specifically on the back end, the midfield, and then 2 forwards, and Nick Sneen will be the goalkeeper in this one. Glad you're with us. Ball right in the heart of that Cougar logo. And the Bengals ready to roll. And they do. Left to right, they'll attack. Here in this opening 40 minutes. 1-0 was the final last year. That was at Bengals Stadium late in September between these two teams. Nobody scored in the first half. And John, just one quick guess from those 12 seniors that were lost from this Centennial Cougar team last year, knowing that team as you did, who might have scored that decisive goal for the Centennial Cougars a year ago?
I have no guesses.
Demetrius Bernardi Nelson.
That
when it comes to
makes
goal
sense.
scoring, he's a good guess. Old DBN. Not this year. And that's led to basically the even record. It's the Bengals that are the experienced team. And again, they force it up towards the front of the box and force those 2 defenders back for Centennial to hold until the midfield can suck in. And offsides here will bring it back out in favor of the Cougars.
And I've already seen Centennial a couple of times this year. This is my first look at Blaine, and you, sir, who have called a couple of Blaine games, are very lucky. These uniforms are the easiest numbers to read that I think I've ever seen.
Gotta love it. They have giant blue numbers. You look at the standings there, only Champlain Park
Those
out
are
in
big
front of
numbers
Blaine.
too.
And Centennial, the color scheme gets you a little bit, but the numbers are sizable enough where you can make up for it a little bit. But yeah, almost don't need the Zappa specs. Well, don't really for the Blaine Bengals. As that one does trickle out towards the front of the box. Far side pushed in over there by Jack Moore. Moore will send it across the field for a pass that is too strong.
It's the right idea, though. It looked like it was at such an angle that it was going to go out on the back line, but it was hooked in well. So it went all the way across, gave his teammates a chance to get to it on the backside, or our near side as we watch. They weren't able to do so, but really liked that play across.
By the way, Champlain Park still has 2 games as well, including one today against Robbinsdale Armstrong. So they are unbeaten. And just the 2 ties separating the Bengals and the Rebels, so they can be Armstrong fans. And then, if things go their way, the Bengals and Rebels will show down in the final regular season scheduled game. More attack from Blaine.
What a season for Champlain Park soccer programs, both the boys and the girls, near the top of the table.
So the Bengals continuing to push as we're just 2.5 gone in this opening half of a doubleheader here on North Metro TV. J.W. Cox and John Hatton with you. We've spent this entire 2.5+ minutes. The Bengal end here, Ryan Bowman trying to cycle it over, and it goes off the Cougars, so the Bengals will have the throw in.
Field does look a little tilted here to start. Could be tough to be in this mindset earlier for Centennial of wanting to play an even good back and forth game or get an advantage, and you just had no success early. So if you're Blaine, it's an opportunity to maybe kill some enthusiasm on the side of the Centennial Cougars.
A header and a chance to push it out, but Zachariah Sherian maintained possession at the midfield long enough, forced the Cougars and Will Mears into too strong of a boot out of bounds near side. Mears a potential scorer if and when they can get possession. He had 3 goals, second highest goal scorer coming back from last year on this Cougar team. Actually behind a defender with the big leg and Jesus Galvin Garcia, scoring mostly on those set pieces. Played back to the keeper for the Bengals, and that's Nick Sneen. 6 goals allowed on the season, 88.5% on the save percentage. He's been the field general so far, directing traffic at this point. That's out off of the Bengals, trickled off the foot of Melvin Keita.
Keita looks real confident out there. You see why he's got the captain's armband. Able to lead by example.
What can the Cougars do with a little possession as it comes to Mears in the corner? Space to work and do something with it. Got it towards the front of the box and just mishandled out. That wasn't poked by the defense. That was Galvin Garcia.
That looked like a tough ball for Galvin Garcia because it deflected to him somewhat unexpectedly. So he got one touch on it, but wasn't able to control.
Touch off the heel of the official in the middle of the field, slowed it down. And that's actually going to give the advantage back to the Bengals because Centennial nearly took it back off of that. Coming up on 5 minutes gone. Bengals and Cougars, this rivalry on the pitch has been pretty even. Centennial, the 1-0 lead last year, a 2-2 tie 2 years ago. And then you had your last stretch of any sort of dominance for a team, and that was 3 straight Bengal wins from 2015 to 2017. Last one was a 3-0 shutout for the Bengals in 2017. Chipped up, way onside, no. Too much to Kohegba. Goal kick coming up. Or rather the free kick from just the near side of the box. And
it was certainly encouraging to see Centennial get the ball to the other end of the field, get an opportunity to put it towards the net. Didn't work out in terms of a real scoring chance with a shot on, but just that bit of confidence they might gain from being able to move the ball to the other side of the field.
Looking for Mears again, sprinting up right side. He reverses that. Nobody home in this near side corner. Bengals are there, they hold it in. Able to clear towards the front of the attacking third. Couldn't get that other wing in action, John. That was a good cross, just nobody home there to do anything with it. And now the Bengals counterattacking back the other way. Richie Pollock in the middle. Richie Pollock, hands outstretched, waist high, saying, I didn't think I was offsides. But the flag was in the air. I think it was Pollock. He was running out there with Kohegba, but Pollock was out in front.
Getting a look at it. It's actually Kohegba.
It is Kohegba, yeah. You're right.
So you can see why maybe there was some concern from Pollock, thinking he didn't do anything wrong.
Mears drives in tight, sends it off of Sneen. Rebound chance, he got it again. The Bengals finally booted out to the far side corner. And it will trickle out. Throw in deep in their attacking third for the Cougars. 2 excellent saves from Nick Sneen, one right after the other.
I'll be honest, I thought it hit legs the second time around. Sneen was right there, so it certainly could have been him as well. What a backdrop that tree over there is.
Tossed right in, and a little falling attempt from Mears pokes it up, and that time Sneen plucks it out of the air. Yeah, we've got the peak fall colors going on with some of those trees. Check the far side of the track too, this other end, and it's completely covered with pine needles. Bounding ball makes it all the way. You can see it just there on your screen. Verke plucks it out of the air. Boots it all the way to midfield. 8 minutes gone here in this first half. Cougars some better chances in the last 3 minutes than they had in the first 5 minutes of this game. Bengals try to reestablish that dominance. Only non-wins are their 2 ties for the Bengals. 1-1 tie against Totino Grace, and the other against another top 10 team, number 8 Maple Grove. Scooped up by Verke again, not under duress.
Pollock was trying to get it, looked like a head to Kohegba, but a little too much on that. Kohegba couldn't slow it down or catch up to it.
Pollock thinking he got shoved there as 3 defenders surrounded him. Amar Adam, far side, taken away by the Cougars and pushed up, looking for Mears again. He's running step for step with Alec Thoreen defensively for the Bengals. It's out off of Blaine, and a Cougar throw in coming up.
That was by design. Thoreen just trying to slow things down and make Centennial go with the throw in.
Now it's off the Cougars on that throw in, and the Bengals will have a chance to extricate themselves from this end of the field. 5-game win streak out of the gates in this unique season for the Blaine Bengals. Outscored their opponents 11-3 in that stretch.
Such a strange year where how prepared are teams? It seems like it's sort of a level playing field each season, and it was this year too. It's just how did everyone approach it? Probably more variance there than ever before for teams in preparing for the start of the season. Whatever the Blaine Bengals did, it got them ready to win some games.
And the experience they have certainly had to help that out, hit the ground running. A couple of shutouts in those first 5 games. They've continued the defense, only 7 goals allowed to this point. There's a few higher scoring teams than they're basically 2 goals per game, but that less than a goal a game allowed. An impressive defensive mark for the Bengals. Booted out by Verke. Just 9 goals allowed by him this season. 81% on the save.
Is it the modern fashion? Is it soccer in general? Or are barbers just going out of business right now? Because there's a lot of flow for a soccer team.
Well, you've got some flow rolling.
Well, I haven't been to a barber in some time, so
that might be more the answer then.
That's a shame.
You never know with the youths, though.
Correct.
They might just be looking for that look in general. Might have been a good excuse.
Well, what do they care? They're not paying for the haircuts anyway.
That's right. Nifty attempt at a pass, but Pollock couldn't get around the defender to maybe receive that. Little back-footed offering from Turadalu.
Yeah, I might have to sport the headband soon for these games.
Just to be able to see. Bangs off the back of a Bengal there as it was attempted on the clear. Galvin Garcia in the middle. They'll chip it far side. They were already offsides. And the Bengals will kick it away. Cougars, meanwhile, we touched briefly on their close game struggles so far. They started 1-0 and then lost back-to-back 1-0 games. Maple Grove and Park Center. Their other 2 losses on the season. Champlain Park, the top team in the conference, beat them 2-0, and then another 1-goal game, 3-2, the loss to Rogers. They, like the Bengals, also tied against the Tino Grays. We'll wrap up with Coon Rapids in their next game. Call that contact and trip as Melvin Keita ended up down on the deck. Dangerous free kick, but setting up to do something maybe with a second touch. The Bengals at least trying to keep possession out of it. Jack Moore working with it along the sideline. Flanked by defenders. Elmer Pedraza took it away for a moment.
Things got real physical down there. And a man down.
Looks like Moore, and it was. Makes his way up, and the Cougars, with 27.5 to go in this first half, clear it out of bounds and a Cougar throw in.
And both teams looking to make substitutions at this point. I'm guessing Moore is coming out. Yep.
So he'll give way to Roman Palyanchuk. Pedraza will take the throw in now for the Cougars. Towards the goal line and booted out to a deep throw in now. Cougars were hunting chances just like these throughout the opening minutes, and they weren't coming. Now they've got something to work with the deep throw in here.
See the starting position here for this throw in.
Lobbed it in, and even a little too strong on that as Sneen was able to get up to the top of his leap and pull it home.
I think that was placed where he wanted it to on the throw-in, but nice job by Sneen to read it and to be aggressive and go up and get it before anyone could get their head that high. His arms were above and grabbed hold.
Snead deserves a lot of credit for what they've done, not just because, yes, they've been a defensive team and he's been back there for 4 different shutouts, but his save percentage has jumped nearly 10 percentage points from last year. He allowed 36 total goals.
Well, you see a team with a 7-0-2 record and you think, well, they must just be scoring at will. And that hasn't necessarily been the case for Blaine. And so typically there's enough of a spread in terms of skill and talent in high school that you're going to play some teams that you just blow out if you're a good team. Blaine hasn't done a lot of that. They haven't finished a lot of games with big wins. So Steen is always involved. And to keep the scoring of his opponents at the low mark that he has is really impressive.
Pollock fighting for that one, even aggressively at the front of the box, right in the face of Verke. The defense let it play back over their shoulder and right to their keeper. Good chance just a moment ago off the free boot that you saw the leg of Jesus Galvin Garcia. Just enough defense to muddy the waters, though, before they got to the front of the box. Bengals back with it. Mua. Quick first touch with the head to stop up any rush, but it bounces back to Kohegba. Pass through the middle, blocked up. Taken away. Good move up front for Melvin Kita. Works his way to the right side. Walled off by a defender, and that's going to draw a whistle. And this is a tricky spot now that the Bengals will get to attack from with just under 24.5 to go here in this first half.
Blaine's had a few free kicks, but this is definitely the best position of the day. So big time opportunity.
Finstermacher got caught in the way right there. Call goes the way of the Bengals. Be taken by Amar Adam. Chipped right in towards the net, and Verke, much like Snead, his counterpart did moments ago, a good read on that. Plucks it out of the air. 24 to go, we're still scoreless. The last time in a head-to-head matchup that these two teams, anybody scored more than 3 goals, was all the way back in 2012. 8 games since then. And the high has been 3 twice. Bengals did both of those in a 3-2 win and a 3-0 win. So some low-scoring affairs. 5 of those 8 have been decided by a single game. You can also chip, or a single goal rather, you can also chip in a 2-2 tie in there. So 6 of the 8 played as narrow as can be. 17 gone here in this one. Shirian lobbed it in, got it to the foot of Kita. In some traffic, he's got to do some work, and he'll draw another penalty there. Tripped up. Kita, the captain. Sun splashes out, sacrificing quite a bit.
Now, I don't want this to be taken the wrong way because Kita's not flopping here, but you can see what he's doing is fully extending himself towards that ball. So instead of quitting on it thinking, oh, there's going to be a collision here, he's sort of inviting that contact because he knows that the call will go his way, and that's what's happened on a couple of occasions.
Yeah, you could say the exact same thing for that last penalty. He got in a more dangerous spot. He could have stopped and maybe avoided the traffic, but kept going to the space that he was entitled to, and that contact got him the whistle.
A lot of substitutions for Centennial. For Blaine, it's just been a player here, a player there, but Centennial rotating regularly through the bench. So you think either there isn't that big a separation between the starters and the bench, or guys need more of a breather for Centennial, maybe not as well conditioned.
It is a shorter bench. Now, Bengals roster is just longer. Not all of those guys see significant time, but still the bench is a little shorter for the Cougars. As what are we waiting on here? Haven't stopped the clock.
No, but our official's going over to the Blaine sideline.
He's counting players, it would look like. So all those substitutions we were talking about, I think somebody didn't get the message.
He's counting Centennial players.
Yep.
Okay.
So they were playing with 10. Or rather, playing with 11 field players. The numbers are set.
I think the other possibility to go back to the last thought is the Centennial feels like one way they might be able to beat Blaine is with fresher legs. So if they just keep rotating nonstop, they'll always have someone with fresh legs out there.
That was turned over, Kohegba. I think he had to worry about the offside because of where that turnover happened. It was just booted away by Verke. A little deep there to get a little bit of space. Ben Sproul to the near side. Fenstermacher sent it through traffic, but contacted there quickly by Thoreen for the Bengals. Cougars push it back up the far side. It's Richie Williams, a goal on the season for the sophomore forward. Coach Otteson trying to just reload here off a team that's gone to the last 2 state tournaments. Back-to-back section titles, their only 2 section titles since 2000. So we go under 20 minutes. Kohegba pushing upfield. And watched closely by Zach Champoni all the way there. And it'll be the goal kick as it was off of Kohegba.
Kohegba really seemed like he got a great head of speed, and then there's the defender right on his hip the whole way. No trouble keeping up. So nice job defensively getting back. I think if you're Centennial right now, you pocket this as a win so far, right? You've made it midway through the first half. You haven't allowed any goals. You've stopped playing that tilted game we saw in the opening few minutes, and you've been able to get a little bit more back and forth action going.
A couple of goal scorers come in. The forward spots, Brian Obwogi, Aiden White, and Rufim Sharkevich. Number 5 in white to play up front. They'll get to try and work on this free kick. 5 combined goals between those two. Bounces to the right side. Defense couldn't play it. Who does that trickle out on? It was last touch by the Bengals and rolls out. There's Obwogi. 3 goals, 2 assists for him.
This Blaine team has 9 different goal scorers on the season. And 6 of those have multiple goals this season. So again, we talked about it a bit during our pregame show, in that they've done a really nice job of spreading out the scoring opportunities. Yes, they're a low-scoring team, but defenses don't really know where it might be coming from when the team leader in goals has just 4 in Kohegba, and you're winning. Not every game, but you're never losing. And that's Blaine still undefeated to this point. I think it's been a really interesting formula to watch this defense first team.
Too far. Quick throw in for the Cougars to get right back in it. It's Garrett Mears working over there with Will Mears. Will chips it back up and too strong. I got caught between a cross and a shot right there. Lofts over the crossbar. Here's 11 assists last year. By far the most coming back from a season ago. Setting up some of those big-time goal scorers, specifically Demetrius Bernardi-Nelson. Mentioned as having the lone goal and thus the game winner in this matchup last year. Richie Pollock is in. We've seen him play a true forwards position throughout this game. But you've still got the 2 recent substitution in Sharkevich and Obwogi out there. So a little more scoring juice even from the midfield with 17 minutes to go here for Coach Aerosmith. A little long-time coaches here going at it. Header to himself up ahead. And Sneen able to pluck it away. Sneen was a key part for the Bengals in keeping that game close last year. Made 11 saves. Bengals officially credited with those 11 saves while having just 4 shots on goal themselves. Our multi-fall sport athlete, Ricky Hemrick Jr., was in goal that day for the Centennial Cougars. Ball rolls out as Garrett Mears tried to work it up this near side. Bengal ball. Some of that hair that John was talking about. Jack Moore.
It's everywhere.
Obwogi trying to play it up with Moore. Kind of a give and go there as Obwogi turned up the field and sprinted as that pass went to Sharkevich. Try and distribute again. They catch the ball up, force him to play this one back off the foot of a Cougar, and so Verke plays it off the foot in kind and all the way back out to midfield. Good work for Sherian. Started right back the other way from where it came. A little touch passing to Moore. Tightrope on the sideline. Who's that off? Off the Bengals and Moore. And so the Cougars a breather defensively as Fenstermacher surveys. Room, no room. Popped up and pulled too strong out of bounds. 15-20 to go. Don't forget, as we're live here with you, we've got coverage of the girls matchup coming your way. Game 2 of this doubleheader. What a team that has been for the Centennial Cougars on the girls' side. No surprise there as the boys push to see if they can't be the first on the board. Mears to the middle, and he first runs into the foot of Sherian. Bounces it out. Another deep throw in for the Cougars. Not quite as deep as we saw the last time. Pedraza will try to do what he can. He goes short this time. A little bit of a change up, and it rolls tight to the box and secured. Seen to the middle, first touch for the Cougars. Much more balanced game once we hit the 35-minute mark. After the Bengals dominated this in the early going. Pedraza again. Slammed out by the Bengals. Bengals thought they could take advantage with some numbers there as it falls to the foot of Jack Moore. Cougars there to turn it back. Pressure from Obwogi. In came Podoljanchuk, flying in to try and put more pressure on for the Bengals so we come up on the 13-minute mark. That's through. Onside, but too strong, and Verke watches it all the way and scoops it up to clear us out. Still scoreless here. Between these two teams, you talk about the number 2 scoring defense for the Bengals. Still in the top 5 in the conference for the Centennial Cougars with the number 4 scoring defense.
Yeah, so at no point did we expect this to be a high-scoring game,
Nope.
and it just breathes more importance into whoever can get this first score. It really puts pressure on the opposition at that point in a way that in most games you wouldn't feel.
Calvin Garcia took a quick burst. Haven't seen a lot of that, and again, he's got the leg to maybe make that interesting. These teams have also both been very patient when they've gotten their offensive chances, and I think that speaks to what we're thinking here is the low-scoring game.
Well, to this point, almost 30 minutes in, what's the big play? What's the big save that had to be made or the shot that was just missed? I can't think of a single one to this point that was really a dangerous threat. I mean, there was a good throw-in that was plucked out of the air on this end of the field. On the other side, there was a cross at some point, and there have been some offsides possibilities, but it's hard to consider those a real scoring chance.
Another toss in and dangerous spot. Mears header and a nice backwards toss or backwards touch. The Bengals to clear. Yeah, the only thing that I would put in there is that back-to-back saves, whether or not it was Snead both times.
Sure.
But he ended up on the deck on the second one. But even that was towards, even outside the 8-meter, it might have been.
Well, and they both got to him, right? Like, he was positioned well, so it didn't feel like a big save was made in those situations. Now, if you just, like, lie down on your back and kick it over, does that count as a bicycle kick, or do you really have to get fully up in the air?
That's why I paused. I mean, that was the motion. But I think if you're on the ground, it's more of a rowing machine kick. I'm not sure. Elliptical kick? Bengals pushing ahead, onside again. Obwogi just had that one picked out of his pocket defensively by Ben Sproul. Really never had possession, did Obwogi. Kita trying to work from the far side, held in by Pollock. And a whistle goes against the Bengals here, so the free kick will tilt us the other way. Coming up on the 10-minute mark here of half number 1.
And just because we haven't had good scoring chances doesn't mean we've had bad soccer. We've had very good soccer.
I think so.
Throughout this. So very sound fundamental play thus far. Just hasn't resulted in a rash of big-time goal-scoring opportunities.
Mears. That one deflected right back at him.
And that just goes more to speak to what you were talking about, 2 of the top 5 teams in the conference defensively when you look at goals allowed. And their games mirror each other to a degree.
Calvin Garcia in the middle. Tried to get it up near side, may have been offsides anyway, but it was taken away by Sherian. He's been, excuse me, that's Kita. Oh, Sherian, right the first time. He's been active both ends of the field, working as one of the 2 defenders for the Blaine Bengals. Snead's going to come all the way out for this free kick. Some good lift on it. Bengals trying.
Snead really taking his time here, getting back.
Just trying to be confident that his teammates were going to turn this into an offensive chance, and instead it's an offsides. It brings the chance to a close. Sherian again. Bwogi.
Oh, he's got help in the middle if he could have just kept going.
Instead, he'll get the whistle. That will bring them a free kick. Yeah, I guess you add this to your list of chances, but not quite. A couple of dangerous area free kicks for the Bengals. Mua trying to keep the body on him. Did just a little bit too much. Definitely frustrated Obwogi.
Only had Sharkevich just to his left, so we could have just gotten a touch pass off. Maybe we keep going.
Garber, no. Kita, no. More back to Kita. Kita, the cross is deflected down. Cougars stayed with it well.
Good response defensively there by Centennial, and then they carry it out.
Push down, under control. Now that makes everybody cycle back defensively for the Bengals, and they do just enough. Basically the safety valve back there, Alec Thoreen, buys everybody time. And now on the throw-in.
It's kind of been Thoreen's patented move so far. He's booting it out of bounds to force a throw-in.
Confidence in the defense that they can play if they've got the numbers.
I think it's a safe play, and I think in some ways it's easy to respect that play.
Bwogi, he goes down, taken down by the keeper. And it's just going to be a throw-in. Bwogi wanted more, but a play on the ball with the foot, it looked like, from Verkes. You'll see it again.
Yeah, we look at this here, and I just want to finish the thought on Thorin because you want to play the ball. You know, you want to touch the ball, you want to possess the ball, but to just say, you know what, the smart play here, time in and time out, is just to knock it out of bounds and let everyone get back defensively. You saw the contact there repeatedly, and it is Blaine ball, and they're setting up for the corner.
Okay. I missed where it went out, so it is a corner. First one of these we've had all game. So we go under 6 minutes. Jack Moore is going to take it towards the front. First head contact from the Cougars. Ball still dangerous. Spinning around the turf. Back out it goes, and the shot from Kita saved by Verke.
Great job by Verke to have the vision to see that, because just about the entirety of the two teams were between him and that shot. It was like watching little kid soccer. They were all bunched up tight. Then it pops out to the one guy on the backside who's got a strong foot. He lets it go with the lefty boot, and Verke able to shut it down, seeing through the trees to make the play.
Champoni cut off a potential return attack. Podoljanchik over to put some pressure on. It's out of bounds. Well, we know all about little kid soccer here on North Metro TV. The days at the old National Sports Center. Battle brewing back out in the attacking third, and it forces Sneen to come all the way out.
Strong play by Sneen.
Great take up the field for Garrett Mears. Similar spot for another one of these Cougar throw-in. This time to Galvin Garcia. He'll slow play it back out in front, and he just hooked it behind his intended target there. Allowed the Bengals to clear. Champoni, he'll center, has a man, but is right in on a hop to Sneen. He was looking for Galvin Garcia in the middle. 4:15 remaining here in this half. Both teams dancing close to the goal line the last two times down the field. Still knotted up scoreless. That'll be all the way into the keeper. Bwogi was offside and knew it anyway as that sailed over his head. Fenstermacher tasked with sending this one forward. Mears.
I think Fenstermacher has really good upfield vision and nice touch to get his pass where he wants to. So you could see why Verke would be willing to just give that ball up and let Fenstermacher kind of direct traffic with it.
Fenstermacher exemplifying that for the Cougars, but I think that speaks to what you said as far as we've got good soccer being played here, because I think both teams have a purpose whenever they're making these passes. It's not a lot of just clear for clearing's sake, passes with no particular direction or intent to them. So far, it's just that finishing touch of finishing off a goal that has eluded both teams. Sherian wins the battle to that loose ball, but not the war to clear it all the way out. Mears can't get there, not for lack of tumbling and trying. Substitutions coming in for the Bengals. Coegba and Ryan Boltman. Coegba, the starter, back in. We've talked about 7 goals, 4 assists over the last 2 years for Coegba. 3 of those in the last 4 games. Galvin Garcia tries to get wide with it. Pedraza forced to come all the way up to play it. Send it up the near side.
I've seen a couple of these from Centennial where they play them ahead hoping someone can track it down, but it's really not a playable ball, so need to find a more happy medium. where you can meet the player upfield.
This one's going to go against the Bengals.
It's a big opportunity here. We've talked about some free kicks for Blaine that seemed to get closer and closer as the half went on. This is one of the best opportunities Centennial's had at a set piece all day.
Champoni to take it. Chips up, looking for a header. Bounds in. Mears will redirect. It's in front again and saved by Sneed. Did somebody's hand get on that?
There was a whistle before that last shot
right.
that Sneed made the save on.
And it was a handball. So less than a minute 15, and they're sending him to the mark. Here's Mears. And that, I think, is the play that drew the whistle. As he was pointing at Pollock. And so in this scoreless game, with now less than a minute trickling down on the clock, here comes Will Mears. And now they'll stop it, and they might add some time, I'm not sure.
Well, I think when you looked at Pollock on that replay, he had that instant must not be guilty because he put his hands behind his back and grabbed them together.
Right.
Kind of the opposite effect of what if you'd done that from the start, you might be okay, but when you whip them back there, kind of shows the guilt.
So the clock actually ran even further than when they were emphatically.
1:15 on the clock, please.
1:15.
1:15.
If you didn't catch that, that's a vocal teacher right there. She got it. There's a little bit of a breeze. She's down on the field. Got that one through any potential chatter. All right, so with 1:15 on the clock, we've got ours. Working on it here in the stadium.
They can use ours if they want.
I mean, we've got, there it goes. 1:15, and now Will Mears on the penalty kick. Staring down Nick Sneed. It was one of those moments in the making in a tight game. And Mears nets it for a 1-0 Cougar lead.
Strong, confident stroke. Went left, and no doubt about that. Goalkeeper Sneed, somewhat undecided on which way he was going to go. It looked like he wanted to go to his left, which would have been the opposite way of where the ball ended up. He didn't actually make the move there because he could see the direction it came off the foot of Mears and knew there was no reason to dive at that point.
Third goal of the season for Will Mears. So back-to-back seasons for this senior with 3 goals. He'll look to add that in this game and beyond. Right now, he gives his squad a 1-0 lead. Bua through the middle. Turned away at the midfield. Back it goes to Kita. Kita pushes it through. No speed in the world's going to get to that one before Verke catches up to it. So it's Will Mears on the penalty. The call was a handball. Put the Cougars on the spot, and Mears cashes in. Final 20 seconds here of the half. Cougars looking for the last opportunity on a cross. That's too deep, and that's likely going to send us to the half. A penalty kick goal for Will Mears. The only tally in this one. And the Cougars, we were calling it a win when it was scoreless 15 minutes in because of the way they had bounced back from a slow start. But now they're definitely in the driver's seat against their rival Bengals. To the half, a 1-0 Cougar lead here at Centennial on North Metro TV. Sports coming back. We're back. It's halftime just closing down here as Centennial has a 1-0 lead. A penalty kick scored by Will Mears with just 1:15. 1:15, as some might say, left on the scoreboard clock. Made it 1-0. By the way, if Alex Zappa were here, he'd be down asking Elmer Pedraza there what the product was he used in his hair because, I mean, yes, we've talked about it. There's some good hair going on, but somehow Pedraza's got quite a bit of volume going despite playing a whole half of soccer. It's impressive.
I'm wondering, I mean, does Zappa need recommendations?
I don't think so.
I feel like he's mastered that game.
Do you need some?
Yeah, probably. I'm not sure what to do with this just yet, but
man,
it's got the COVID.
What a shot, though! You were talking about the sunlight. I mean, the glint off that's.
In the first half, I noticed that the sun was coming in just perfectly through the little portcullis that we have here in the door. So I'm trying to soak up as much of that heat as I can.
Has anyone ever painted you? As that one is knocked to the top of the crossbar and eventually cleared out. Verke ended up down on the deck, and the defense had to clear up the chance from Pollock. Bengals nearly got the game-tying score. A minute into this one, and it was Pollock who had the handball, unfortunately, that turned into the penalty kick. And he nearly had his third goal of the season. Sunlight on the field, too, during halftime. The lights took their full effect, or rather turned on to their full strength, not taking that full effect yet.
So we had, at the end of that halftime, you know, the promo for upcoming volleyball and football.
Yep.
And this is the first game I've done since that announcement came through. I believe it's the first for you. We didn't mention it at all in the first half, but instead of a tennis match here or there and some soccer games, the sports schedule just got real heavy through October and November here at North Metro TV. Maybe, I mean, it's hard to know, but certainly for that condensed period, it's a very heavy schedule for us.
Yeah, so keep it locked in, northmetrotv.com for all the scheduling, how you can watch. We might have multiple games. We'll definitely have some multiple game scenarios, so you'll need to know what's on the channel and what is going to be on our extra YouTube page. And we're going to do our best. I mean, there are limits to what the human body and a certain amount of cameras and a certain amount of people can go cover, but to try our best to get this coverage out there. Certainly we know volleyball folks will be interested in seeing that when they won't have the opportunity to go view it live. Fewer people for football as well. Knocked out, and we'll have a Cougar corner kick here. Up a goal, just 2.5 into half number 2.
It is interesting to watch the season be compartmentalized, though, because soccer will basically be done or winding down, and then volleyball will start. So we won't be thinking about volleyball during soccer and soccer during volleyball. The focus will just be on those teams and their games each week, and then, of course, football will mix its way in on Fridays.
Galvin Garcia keeps it low. Rolled through, and Sneed makes the save. So through traffic, he keeps an eye on Will Mears. Put it towards the net.
That's a little bit like a Ginger Flohog type play that we've seen score several goals this season.
Hasn't that been fun to watch? She is. I mean, we've seen a lot of Ginger Flohog coach soccer over the years, you and I. And I don't remember her busting out something that looked that much like a playbook in years past. They've got some skill to do some fun things on that girls' soccer game that we might see here in game number 2.
You know, maybe it's a now or never situation with her making the announcement that she was going to step away from coaching next year and move into an AD role. And so that ball got some distance on it.
That went a long way. I haven't seen that one either.
I was thinking in the first half that it's a gentleman on the one side, so ball boy over there, ball girl on this side.
Okay.
But they have really kept up with the action well.
They haven't been noticeable.
But I don't know if he's going to go track that ball down way out
There's
there.
somebody else already over on the other side of the fence that is looking for that one. Right on the tree line, and nearly cleared that. Like they say, that's the best kind of soccer ball person to have, is one that you don't notice, because they're always just doing their job and they got the ball back.
I'm always paying attention, especially because the one Minnesota United game I've been to at the new stadium, Blaine Youth was handling that duty.
Kohegba had an open look at the net and bangs it off the right side. He made a pretty move to get past Verke.
So
And then just wide.
in the moment, you want to get this off right away, right? But did he have more time? Yeah, he had more time. I mean, he could have set himself. The defender was flying by, just trying to get back more towards in the goal to play it sort of the way a keeper would. And so he was given all the space in the world. He really could have just stopped dead, lined that up, and put a real strong, accurate blast on. That's a shame. But, of course, we have the advantage of hindsight.
Well, you mentioned that defender, and I think Mua had just made the decision to peel off a little bit right towards the goal, and that would have made that an easier chance for Kohegba if he had paused. But maybe when he made that decision, Mua looked to still be right on his hip, but he didn't want to lose possession.
And he doesn't know if there's someone behind him
Correct.
necessarily. You would think that somebody would be collapsing when you start that open.
So the Bengals, 2 chances, one wide of the net that bangs off the outside. Another great fingertip save by Verke that knocked it into the crossbar.
I mean, those 2 chances are better than any chance they had in the first half in a game that we talked about repeatedly was defensive.
Goaltender was down, Sneen at the front of the box. No flags up, and the Bengals going to clear it out, so no issue off of that. 6 minutes in, it's been an active 6 minutes. And just like the first 5 of the first half, it's been the Bengals, the bulk of it, though we haven't spent the entire half. In their attacking third, it's been more quick hitters down that side of the field. Bengals, been a little while since they've got a section title under their belt. And we talked about this season in the odd things. The thing that always strikes me with high school, and maybe this is just me being outside of it, and it does mean more than I realize, but so much at the state tournament level is dependent on what you do in sections, as this will be offsides. Sometimes when you have, especially when you have a big conference like the Northwest Suburban, a conference title might lose a little bit of luster, right? Because that's not really what a conference title doesn't really get you much, except maybe a banner. But this year, with you don't know how the postseason's going to go and what that's even going to look like, winning a conference title in 2020 might be a little higher on the list than it would be in a quote-unquote normal year.
I agree with you that because there is no direct tie between winning a conference and where you're seated in the section or what success you might have in the section, but it does give you that motivation throughout the course of the season, right? Hey, we're playing the top team in the section, or this is a battle for one of us to be the top team, or in the conference, I should say. And so when you have that, it's not like Major League Baseball or even Major League Soccer where the season goes on forever and you really have to fight hard to motivate, but typically there are, 20 games and you've got to get up for all of them, and anytime you can find some kind of extra reason to get excited for the game, that helps.
That might be just me listening to coaches too much in one particular area, because obviously they're concerned with section titles and what they want to do and where their seating is, and more so they tend to talk about that in answers even when it's a big conference showdown game. It's just always stuck with me. You say all that to say that the Bengals are right here with a chance to at least find a share of the Northwest Suburban Conference. 2 ties separating them at 9-0 Champlin Park, so they would need some help from Robbinsdale Armstrong tonight. And then a head-to-head win as the Bengals will close the season with Champlin Park. I guess I'd have to look at the points more. But a 2-tie Bengal team with no loss. Would that leapfrog a 1-loss Champlin Park team with no ties? Instead of stream of consciousness, I should have looked that up before, but so even if Champlin Park were to win tonight, Bengals win tonight, let's say, come back in this one, and then the Bengals beat them head-to-head, they would have fewer losses than the Rebels would at 0.
Mm-hmm.
Got a player down.
Well, I think typically 2 ties is kind of the same as 1 loss.
So
and
it would almost be a tie.
It would be a tie there, and because Blaine had beat them in a head-to-head matchup, that's my assumption.
Bengals, to keep that in play, have some work to do here in this one, as we've got an entry timeout with 30:55 to go. So we were talking about it. We've got a busy schedule that we're trying to piece together. And here's a brief slice of it. More soccer next week, and we'll have that Champlin Park game at Blaine.
I'll be there.
You will be there. I don't think I'll be there.
I don't think so. We didn't invite you.
All right, I wasn't invited. Football, I'll be there. Armstrong at Spring Lake Park. And also that same night, Tino Grace at Blaine. So Spring Lake Park and Blaine fans can see both of those. We'll have youth football coming up. Ricky might be there, but he might be scarred from some of that.
Yeah, he got taken out last year.
Yeah, he did. Trying to just
almost
hanging out.
like what we just saw on the far side of the field.
Pretty much, yeah. Full coverage schedule, NorthMetroTV.com. And whoever of any of the combination of us and our great crew that's out for this one will bring you whatever we can this year. As the sports have come back. Great leap for Snead. We've seen him do that a couple of times now. Get up to the top, pluck it out before anybody else can make contact. I always felt that was just personally for me not a tricky spot. I mean, it was easy to adjust, but to be aware of. Because there was obviously some disappointment, certainly if you were a football player or a volleyball player earlier this season. There was a lot of disappointment that your season was canceled at worst, halted at best, depending on what happened. But you had soccer players, as we'll get an offside here. It almost felt like you were jilting them a little bit by dwelling on the fact that there was no football and no volleyball. Well, they were out there, they were playing. And like you said, it's good to compartmentalize now a little bit because they can still keep the spotlight they've earned with a long, hard-fought season.
Well, I think there is a bit more of a spotlight, right? We came in today and Centennial girls tennis was playing. You remarked that you don't remember seeing that many spectators for a tennis meet before.
There were a lot. And who knows, maybe that's just me, but well attended, we'll say.
Did you get a report from Steve Robertstead on the attendance at the swim and dive meet?
It had to be small, right? I mean, because that's inside, so I'm guessing.
Are they even allowing anyone?
Yeah,
I guess I didn't know.
Limited at best, probably just to staff.
And that's part of the announcement that I didn't look at with regard to the winter sports is the difference in what kind of spectators are going to be allowed for basketball and football basketball and hockey. Because that announcement was just made today that winter sports will be back. With not much of a gap between the end of the fall season and the start of the winter season. That part surprised me. I thought maybe they would push back the winter season to the new year, just kick it off on January 2nd probably. But they're going to go right at the end of November. So it's really not that much of a difference than normal.
And for everybody, I think there'll be more players impacted this year because, yes, generally at the end of the year, if you've got a football player who also plays hockey and that football team goes deep, then yes, but not everybody plays that deep into the season, into the prep bowl, obviously. And so the number of players, but this year, just everything kind of more truncated. It's a little bit more players dealing with that. But I don't know. I haven't talked to any high schoolers, but at this point, I would feel like they're going to welcome the diversion of we might as well just go from one sport to the another, right? We spent a lot of this year not doing anything. Some of them that came back from last year might have had an entire spring canceled. So they're just ready to play. Still 1-0 here. Cougars scored once in the first half. Bengals have had two near misses here in the second half to try and tie it up. Last year's score, 1-0. Mentioned all the tight ball games in this rivalry of late. A 2-2 tie in 2018. Cross knocked down, not controlled by the Bengals, but popped just far enough out for Jack Moore to dance with it for a moment. Moore pushes it to the middle. That was watched by Pollock.
There's probably some frustration here for Blaine right now because they played a really solid first half. You get one unlucky break in the end of the first half. Then you come out here in the second half, and they were fired up. They got two very good chances and were unable to capitalize on either one. So they could have very well taken the lead on those back-to-back opportunities. Instead, here they are still trailing, still battling, and time is, becoming more and more of a factor as we're nearly midway through this second half.
Bengals defense had that one bracketed. Yeah, this is a Bengal team that's only been shut out once this season. They have shut opponents out 4 different times.
And again, they're not a high-scoring team. They're not a offensive juggernaut. But no, they don't normally get shut down to the extent that we've seen thus far.
Good opportunity developing as they kept everyone on side, but all it takes is that one solid defensive touch for the Cougars. Ball bounces high, knocked ahead by Pedraza. Mears goes wide. Mears trying to get it back to the middle and did! It's a score for Joey Mcmillan! Not frustrated, straight fired up for the Centennial Cougars. And the senior Joey Mcmillan, his second of the year on a beautiful crossing feed from Garrett Mears. And it's 2-0 Cougars.
Let's get another look. He's got it up the middle and he chips it out ahead to the far corner. And he's one of a number of players moving it back into the middle. He gets it up near the top and doesn't try to do too much with it, right? Just in the flow of it. Hard turn with his right foot. Use that inside part of the foot to force it forward. And Sneen sliding down, trying to make the stop, but didn't have the angle. The ball was out of his reach. Really nice goal there by Mcmillan.
I like the intensity of the celebration. I mean, this is soccer. They celebrate, right? He was fired up.
Well, it doesn't happen often. Makes it more special, right? Just his second of the season. And, at 2 goals, that puts him tied for second on the team. So the goals have been hard to come by throughout the course of the year. You got to savor those moments.
Didn't score a goal last year as a junior, had an assist. And now the Cougars, chance to just really send the Bengals careening here with a free kick. Ben Sproul's going to take it. Under 25 to go in this game. They're up 2-0. Sproul's chip shot. Header goes through. Mears, he'll take the shot. And he poked it high. He was point blank and had Sneen on the balls of his feet dancing around, but he pushed it well high.
I think, that would have obviously felt like a dagger goal if they could have gotten it. Already, you've taken this game from, making Blaine feel frustrated to making them feel worried. They have to feel worried at this point with just 24 minutes left, trailing by 2 goals. Because if they don't get a goal in the next 15 minutes, then they're in real trouble, because we know how the last 5-10 minutes of a soccer game goes when one team has an advantage. They do everything they can to milk that clock, and it might even start sooner than that if you're Centennial with a 2-goal lead.
And though they've had those great chances, the Bengals haven't had the great chances worked out of an offense, right? Like we've seen the last couple of times, moving down with control for the Cougars. And so that adds to the frustration, not even generating the offensive possession that they did in the first half. That'll be a turnover right there as it just slips free of Roman Podoljanchik. Gives it a chance for the Cougars. Throw it in their half. Game against Coon Rapids to close the regular season for the Cougars. If this holds, they'll have an opportunity to win their final 2 and peel a 6-win season out of this one. A season that's seen so many close losses as they try to rebuild after losing 11 seniors from a year ago. 10 more seniors on this team, putting them in the position they are right now, including both guys that have the tallies in this one, the senior Mears and the senior Mcmillan. Onside, up ahead to Dockendorf. He dances around a man and sends it just wide. Good move to get some space for, that was Harper Searles. A little hesitation to himself once and twice. That's a good read by Sneed, knowing where he was and letting that one fly by. What do the Bengals have?
Pollock had it drop down on his foot, but the whistle is going to bring it dead. Contact behind. Deep free kick for the Cougars. Frustration continues for Blaine. Moore through the middle. Wide side for Moore. Moore. Long top spin shot. Sails wide to the right. Under 2:20 to go. Dueling headers drop it dead just before midfield. Through ball to the right side. Looking for Babiash there. Quick throw in from Mcmillan. Held by Searles and then poked out, forced off of Searles. The defense of Tura Dalu.
Snead knowing he needs to get this upfield. They need to start generating some momentum towards the other goal. There's only so much he can do, obviously, but he wasn't looking for anything short there. He wanted to start it off big.
Turned over, taken away by the Cougars. Tamirs wide, sends it in, return, and it's tapped home by Searles. That's a tremendous run, and all you had to do was tap it home after the great feed again for a second straight goal from Garrett Mears.
It could be so easy to want to do too much with this ball, but you called it just a tap. In fact, he hit it so softly that you wondered, was it going to go in? Did he get it enough on it? Watch this. It just dies there and trickles over the goal line with no one to stop it. Really nice play. Yep, just get a piece of it.
He had that spin on it. He was almost deadening that as if he was receiving it on a long pass upfield. And it worked out for him. Well, if about 3 minutes ago a goal would have felt like a dagger, it certainly does now.
Yeah, what a play for the freshman.
Again in front, the keeper down, and it's still in. And that one might have last come off a foot of the Bengals, though the pressure was certainly there from Centennial.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Sherian could do anything with that ball, but he was the last one to contact it. If he doesn't touch it at all, does it not roll in? I think it was going to anyway, so he tried to take a swipe at it.
Yeah, you might as well at that point because I'm pretty sure it was on net. And it's Luke Zaki who makes that touch right there.
Ooh, yeah, it was going in. At first, for a second, I thought it might go wide of the post, but no, it didn't have that kind of angle to go wide.
And in his defense, it took us looking at it that slow to figure out if it was
sure.
maybe on net. Him in the speed of the game is going to try and do whatever he can to keep it out of the net. It's now 4-0. And again, they give that goal to Zaki. Luke Zaki, another senior who gets on the board. 3 seniors, Mears, Mcmillan, and Zaki, and a freshman in Harper Searles, scoring the 4 goals for the Cougars.
Yeah, again, for the freshman to get his first, very exciting. Nicely done on this game, and this is a team that has, as we talked about, struggled to score, but not today, and certainly not here in the second half where 3 of the 4 goals have come.
Just kept the pressure on. Now the ball drops behind again, and again the Cougars will take advantage, and this time after a pair of assists, it's Garrett Mears that gets his own tally here with 18:49 to go.
Wow. I mean, this just feels like it's come out of nowhere. And this is a position that Blaine hasn't been in And maybe that's why things have turned as ugly as they have now. And that's just unfortunate bounce. That's tough. And Snead giving up almost as many goals today as he had all season.
Gave up 6 coming in. The Bengals from bad to horrid in just a minute and 11 seconds. 20:01 mark, it was 3-0, and we were thinking dagger. Since then, 2 more goals have scored to make the final 18 all but academic here. And yeah, you can talk about tough for the Bengals to be in the spot down 3-0 and things might slip. But I think you got to give some credit to the Cougars too, to be on the spot and take advantage of some of those miscues. Keep the pedal to the metal.
Oh, 100%. I mean, you still have to score the goals, right? We looked at Blaine at the beginning of the second half and said, oh, so close. They could have been right back in this game, and they missed on those chances. Centennial has not been missing on the chances here in the second half where they've scored 4 goals. Really unexpected turn to see the 4-4-1 Cougars with this 5-0 lead on an undefeated Bengals team.
All that comment we had about them battling with Champlin Park for the conference. Won't be a whistle here. The Bengals wanted it, but it's a goal kick. And that's not going to matter here. Centennial, their opening game of the season, beat Andover 4-0. They hadn't scored more than 2 goals in a game since, and they save it for their second to last of the season against their rivals. Trying to also find their way to a 3rd shutout. If they can keep the defense rolling, they'll have to do it against a corner kick here. 16.5 to go. If you're the Bengals, all you can do, keep the head down and keep playing here. Ryan Bowman. Cougars got that first touch to clear it out. Bowman back to it to hold on to some sort of possession for the Bengals. Sidestep for Babiash.
It's not something that we think about often when it comes to soccer, and obviously anything could happen. We're not out of the realm of something crazy, but I started to ponder, is there a mercy rule in soccer? Because we have gotten such a wide spread, but then I remembered that someone had to come in and check with us to verify that the Centennial girls did actually win a game 22-0 earlier this season, which they did. So I don't think there is anything like that in soccer for high school.
Yeah, we're not going to get there if there is, because I don't think it was at 22-0. You get the running time, but that's about it. We still got to go a ways to get to that. We on the airwaves had a 10-0 girls soccer win. Spring Lake Park beating Park Center. So we've seen a lot. And the Bengals, unfortunately, have seen a lot go against them. They hadn't given up 2 goals but 1 time all year. That was in their 2-2 tie to Maple Grove. Every other game, 1 or less. And apologies, I shorted the Spring Lake Park girls team a goal. It was 11-0.
And what's interesting, you know, we're not here in this game to belabor the success that team had, but the Spring Lake Park girls soccer team, there was a time when scheduling their matchup against Park Center meant that we would have a competitive game. So that program has taken some nice steps.
The boys got a win that same night. That was the first time as Northwest Suburban Conference foes, the Spring Lake Park boys team had beaten Park Center. We do have a new goalkeeper in for the Bengals, the bright-shirted Parker Dahlman. Not only a bright shirt, but he's got number 101 on his back. takes you right back to the USA Cup we were hinting at earlier. You get some of those teams that have those deep rosters. You end up with a number 116 or a 109. Now, they don't go number 1 through 109, but for whatever reason, triple digits are popular.
Anything to be different.
It's true. Pushed up. Header out in front. Nowazki was able to send it back towards the middle. And he couldn't connect with Zaki. We are going deeper into the Cougar bench than you would potentially see with Zaki, who's got a goal we talked about, but also Nowazki there. This will also be knocking off a top 10 team for the Centennial Cougars. Blaine, latest rankings for Class 2A, bounced up from number 7 to number 5. Champlain Park, the number 1 team in the state, followed by Minnetonka, Wayzata, and then St. Paul Central at number 4.
And so we are seeing that big Bengal bench getting deeper and deeper. And I was thinking about that with the appearance of Dahlman, because you get that feeling in hockey when we talk about a goaltender leaving, we always refer to it as them being pulled. And that's not necessarily the right way to look at it, and it's not necessarily the way I would look at what's happened here today. Yes, Sneen was taken out, but that's an opportunity for Dahlman to get playing time. And that's what it's more about at this point, because this game is out of reach for the Bengals to be able to come back in. So give the other keeper a chance to see some real playing time, just like you would any other position.
Onside, and there's Dahlman coming out to make a play with the foot outside the front of the box. Very nearly turned into a Cougar chance right in front. Long push up the near side, rolls out. Goal kick coming up for Dahlman. They'll still have to regroup and finish the regular season strong with that game at home against Champlain Park. Once this one is done, whatever disappointment, they'll have to try and wash that away quickly. Be able to get set for that game. Though you do have some time off. There could have been years past where maybe they were playing that final game of the regular season on a Saturday. Try and squeeze it in. Obviously not this year with the 2 games a week. So they'll wait till Tuesday. Just outside of 11 minutes to go. Don't forget, we'll wrap this one up, take a pause during the warm-ups, and have the second game of our doubleheader, which will feature that Centennial girls matchup. Dahlman just has that one bounce high on him, so it looked like a misplay, but that was a tough bounce to him.
Well, that was reminiscent of the 5th goal, which just kind of hopped over and then awkwardly bounced off of folks.
So now we'll get a corner kick for the Cougars out of it. Comes Elmer Pedraza. Deep far post, the header, and Dahlman pulls it down. Well executed by the Cougars and a good save for Dahlman. Lobs it out quickly, trying to find Aomidi Olasanmi. Middle of the field, one of the new strikers that we were talking about as the bench moved deeper into it. You can tell he's still got another gear. We go under 10 minutes to go. It's interesting, too, for this Cougar team. They lost a lot of scoring with the seniors they lost from their back-to-back section title runs. But 2 years back, the seniors on this team, sophomores in the program, watching what goes on last year, going to the state tournament as juniors. Maybe they weren't the impact players, but more and more playing time under their belt in big moments. This is a team that knows how to go out and compete, and they did just that. Got the goal late in the first half on the penalty, made the most of that opportunity, and have put it away here in the second. Zach Newby for the Bengals. Work it into the middle. Marek Wakabuta sees it bounce past, settles it in for the throw-in. That's Brian Doe. The throw in for the Bengals. Misplayed, and it's loose on the near side. Nowoski, he'll take the long shot, angling at that far post. It was just a piece for Dahlberg. No rebound, but the ball still deep here in the attacking third for the Cougars.
Dahlman had to make that play. If he doesn't get hands on it, then that one is going to slip through. Really nice shot here from that kind of distance.
Just enough fingertips and just too far out of the reach of Babiash to try and send that one home. Still more pressure. The hungry reserves of the Centennial Cougars. They'll get to savor back-to-back rivalry wins against the Bengals. The last time they won back-to-back games in this rivalry, 2010, 2011. Actually, check that, back-to-back regular season games. They did it in 10 and 11. Dahlman again leaning out to get a fingertip on it and helped out by the defense to clear. The Bengals won a playoff game, second round playoff game against, Centennial won a second round playoff game against the Bengals in 2013. Came back the next year and won the regular season matchup for a 2-game win streak. He didn't touch that. It was all on the foot of Doe. Then cleared it out and kept it away from Aiden Dockendorf. Man down for the Cougars, and so we'll get a whistle with 7:05 here. Stop the clock as Elmer Pedraza slow to get up.
See, he was definitely in pain, but one of the signals to me that it probably wasn't that serious is the number of times he rolled over. So it felt like he was on a hill because he just kept going. Whereas if you had torn something, broken something, you're not going to want to be putting any pressure on that.
Another corner coming up for the Cougars. Ben Sproul to take it. First touch for the Bengals. Trying to get Olasanmi with some space. Defense was there. It's back to Newby. Newby up ahead looking for Abwogi. Abwogi's got it. Speed on defense, though, to take it away from him. Zach Champoni booking it down the field with the bright neon shoes. Make the defensive play as we go under 6.
Really have had a beautiful evening. I know we've had some scattered showers the last couple of days. But, well, the temperature's a little cooler than it has been.
It is October.
It's been very pleasant. We got a nice sunset going on right now.
Richie Williams sprinting out far side to try and find an angle down the field. We're pretty warm.
Yeah, came prepared.
Toasty inside.
Unlike some of our camera operators.
We got a little different elements to deal with, I guess.
There's that, and the experience.
Yeah.
I won't be underdressing after doing this for a few years.
That's true. I've been underdressed at a North Metro TV shoot, that's for sure. Mostly baseball.
Ooh, baseball's the tricky one. It feels like spring is much trickier.
Yep. You're guaranteed outside. And
you're so excited about it being slightly warmer. So you think in that time that you walk to your car, it's not too bad at all. But when you're sitting out there in the wind and it starts to rain and it's only 50 degrees.
You go extra innings in a softball game. And yeah. Officially into the fall here, and we'll get a whistle off of all this contact. It's going to go against the Cougars. Alex Gabler, the one who ended up down on the deck. Under 4 to go.
Yeah, we're just playing out the string. We felt like it was a dagger at 3, as you said, and then it's only become more lopsided as things have gone on. Blaine has been unable to scratch the scoreboard at any point.
Third goal scored with 20 minutes and a second left in this game. And by the time we hit the 18:45 mark, there had been 2 more scored to make it 5-0. Nothing since then. The Cougars haven't needed it. 3 minutes and counting. Try and log this as the 7th game that they've been a part of that has featured a shutout one way or another. Coming in the first 6, 2 Cougar wins that they shut out opponents. 3 times they were shut out. They also played a 0-0 tie at one point, which I'll count as a shutout. It doesn't really go either way. Official.
Everyone got a shutout.
Everyone gets a shutout. And a shout out. Fans bundled up in the stands. Making their way out here. Got the Bengal faithful in front of us. Bundled up.
Well, it's also getting to that point in the year where, it's not the same effectiveness, but you almost have a natural mask when you wear your scarf out and cover your face. But I wouldn't be surprised if some people had the mask on right now just to stay warm.
Just for warmth.
Yeah. Do you feel like when you go to the grocery store you might rob it, or that someone else there is intending to rob it? Does it just...
My favorite lighthearted mask story so far, like a week after it became a mandate, I did a news story about a guy in southern Minnesota robbing a bank. So you would think that'd be a bank robber's paradise. He was not wearing a mask.
The only person.
To me, that right there just tickled me to no end. You have the perfect excuse to go into a bank with a mask on, and you chose to rob it without a mask.
He seems just smart enough that a life of crime was the right decision for him.
Sure.
This way the state can take care of him for the rest of his life because he's not smart enough to do it himself.
Multiple layers people have going on here. Bengals playing out the string here. Wogey made several good runs throughout this game, but just too tough with that Cougar defense able to swarm. Under 50 seconds to go. Two-man game. Olasami can't handle it. Out to the Cougars. Final 20 seconds. They're going to go to 5-4-1 with 1 game to go in the regular season. Pitch their 3rd shutout of the year. The Bengals will fall to 7-1-2. Their rivals handed their first loss of the season. 4 goals in the second half for Centennial. Will Mears scored the only in the first off a penalty. Joey Mcmillan, Harper Searles, Luke Zaki, and Garrett Mears, who also had 2 assists in the half, scored the capper to make it 5-0, and all smiles for the Cougars here in their final home game. They made the most of it, John, and not just, this was a great effort as it was in the first half to hold the Bengals down. Once they got the scoring going, this was the only in the first off the handball, but once they got the scoring going in the second, there's no looking back as Mears had him with a 1-0 lead at the half. And chance after chance cashed in, John, here in the second half.
Yeah, it's these rushes left to right that we got so used to in the second half. This came one after another, and the feel of the game changed every time, right? That second goal, you're thinking, oh, there's some serious confidence here. Now, third goal, well, this might as well be over. And then it's just like the floodgates were open and nothing could go right for the Blaine Bengals. And so the Bengals suffered their first loss, so by definition, their worst loss of the season. And the Cougars on the other side get their biggest win of the season. It's the 5th of the year, but none is more impressive than what they did against the number 5 team in the state today.
Game-winning goal goes to Will Mears in this shutout. He scored the first, but the tip of the cap to Garrett Mears for his goal and 2 assists in half number 2. Tip of the cap to you for tuning in for this one. We've got one more soccer game coming your way. 5-0. Cougars beat the Bengals in the boys' version of the matchup. The girls will take to the field next. You've been watching high school soccer here on North Metro TV.